Hi everybody, Gisele Grenier here from artplace.ca. Our next background. So I'm going to basically prime it with gesso. See, the reason why I'm doing this is that when I do this and I get one that's already prepared, when I do the next video, I work on this one, which is the prepared one. I'm killing two birds with one stone. Now, as I'm doing this, the gesso in the tub is starting to dry out a little bit, which is absolutely amazing because it's really thick. Now, I'm working on an existing page that I actually started. And some people use their art journals for actual visual journaling. I've got a few journals on the go. I use some for my post-shots, my quick studies. I've got some that I use just for ideas. I've got one that's called Mad Experiments. I do experimenting with art. And recently I've started one about my journey with my dog, who we just had put to rest. And that one's a very dark journal. And what I'll end up doing with that one is all the writing that I did in that journal, I will end up taking those journal pages out and creating a 3D mixed media painting, a formal painting. I'll be putting those pages as a foundation and everything else will be covered on top. That way it'll be a very personal piece of art. So I mean, you can use everything for your pieces. Oh, and I use permalba gesso for this with a big bristle brush, and if you're following my videos, you already know why I use this. If you just started following my video, it's because the permalba white gesso has ground marble and pure titanium white. It's really strong, makes your pages quite strong. This is another page I'm just working on the backs. And so now, we're going to make now the technique for this, you can do with any color, but I'm going to do this particularly with the reds, whites, and a kind of like a sunshine color, because on camera it's beautiful. Before I started as well, I put on some painter's glove, which is made by the Bob Ross company. Actually, it's made by Martin F. Weber for Bob Ross, and it's just amazing. I mean, there's other brands out there, but this one actually you don't need a lot. And all this stuff here, like all this white paint, once I put my hands underwater, it'll get rid of it. And there are areas too, as I'm working, the painter's glove actually come off, a little bit of 1000+ stain remover with water, and crystal clear, it comes clean. Okay, I want to paint this page with a light red. Well, doesn't matter which one. Because I use a very limited palette, that way I do a lot of color mixing, because I don't believe you need to own 300 colors. Very limited palette. And I'm going to basically work, I can use either cad red light or white, or alizarin crimson and white. I'm going to use alizarin crimson and white. Now for this, I'm going to do it two ways. If you don't have titanium white, use your gesso. And I'm just going to put a strip of white there. And, oopsie, missed that part. And a strip of alizarin crimson there. And get my card. Now we want to do this scraped all the way. This creates a light red. It's actually light red that's on the blue side. Alizarin crimson is probably the coldest red in the paint world. When I say coldest red, you say, oh, red's a warm color. No, it's not actually. You can have red that's actually warm, okay? But when I think of the color temperature, I think of where it is on the color wheel. Alizarin crimson is red that's on the blue side, therefore it's cool. So it just depends on how you interpret color temperature. And you notice, yeah, I'm doing this, and I kind of went off the page, then I put this on. Look what happened. I got pink splatter all over here. I don't care. I don't care. And where I put that strip of alizarin crimson, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Ooh. Okay, I'll take this leftover and just scrape it onto another journal page. Okay, what I did off camera is I wiped this off because the paint that I was scraping that got on here. Okay, I put this on top and I got some paint here. That's not a problem. Problem is that because I'm constantly going to be working on here, the paint will start to dry. Then if I were to lift this off, I may actually tear my sheet. So I just did a quick wipe. Now looking at this, I'm actually going to cut this out and use this as probably as part of journal pages. I love this. All this is It's just Reynolds freezer paper. It's massively long. It's huge, okay? And that's all this is. This has lasted me such a long, long time. Typically, I use a glass palette, okay? But because of the reflection on camera, it's not really ideal. All right. Next, okay, we're going to start with alizarin crimson. Because I started here and I like this band, I don't want to lose that. I'm going to start here now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put a layer of alizarin crimson on this. Now, you can do this with any color you want, but this particular layer, the paint itself should be transparent. Any half-decent paint of good quality from a good manufacturer will actually have the pigment number, the transparency, and the light fast rating, okay, which is important to know. Because this layer here being transparent, all this distress and scrapes and whites and all this will show through. And you're going to have what's called optical color mixing. Actual color mixing, physical color mixing, you mix two colors on your palette together, or mix two colors on your canvas together. Optical color mixing is when you layer colors on top of each other. When the light shows through, it bounces off, and you've got a different color, even though you physically didn't mix them together. For this here, time is sort of important. What we need to do is we need to get this to a point where it's tacky, because we're going to use a baby wipe or a Clorox wipe. Now I've run out. Oh, I've got one left. One Clorox wipe, but it's soaking wet, so I'm not going to use that. I use the Clorox wipes when I'm doing this technique with oils, and baby wipes when I do this with acrylics. I'm not a fan of using baby wipes. I prefer the actual Clorox wipes, but I like trying to keep my Clorox wipes when I work with my oil techniques. Okay, now I'm going to take another scraper. And I'm going to start closer to the top. Just a little bit of alizarin crimson. Scrape that down. Scrape, scrape, scrape. Now you don't need to work like super duper fast, but because we're scraping, we're actually pushing the pigment into the page. You know what? I'm going to leave that like that. I like that look. I like that look. I like that. But I'm going to take this and quickly spread it over onto a blank journal page that I have sitting on the side. You have to let this tack up. There is no real rhyme or reason to let it tack up. You just let it tack up. Tack up means that it's tacky. It's dry, but it's tacky to touch. And when the way you notice that is if you look at this and see how you've got some shiny spots like that. Okay, that's kind of wet. You kind of turn that around. The other way is just to lightly take your hands and go over. If paint comes off, it's still wet, but you want to wait for it to be tacky. So all we're going to do now is I'm just going to use my baby wipe and I'm just going to remove the paint from some areas. If I just remove it from here, I'm not really going to serve any purpose, but go on to where the paint is kind of like I like the thick parts here because it's different. So I'll go into some areas and I'm going to start making some marks. This is kind of dark up here, so I'll put a little bit of contrast in there. You don't want to make one big square. You kind of want to make it a little bit of a different size. And then I can go on to another area. Nope, I got some white paper showing through. Okay, a little bit of white there. Okay, now it's really tacking up now, so now I can use the whole cloth. And I'm only using one finger to really push. Don't do this everywhere though, okay? Because you're going to lose the effect. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to take some orange and we're going to, I'm just going to turn this way because I'm actually facing this way. I'm going to take some orange There we go. And I'm going to scrape some orange. Now, the cad orange, sorry, not cad orange, cad yellow dark hue. Cad yellow dark hue is what, I'm going to let this dry. Cad yellow dark hue is what I used to make color mix, taking cad red light and cad yellow medium, or cad orange and cad yellow medium. It creates a nice sunshine color. Okay, beautiful sunshine color. I love that. And it's nice that it's actually made. Now, to make this, PY65, which is pigment yellow, number 65, PW6, which is titanium white, and PO62. So they've done it, Weber's done it, by taking yellow, white, and orange. There we go. So I'm just going to wipe that. So what's going to happen now is, because this pigment is opaque, it's actually going to cover up, like it's going to be more of a solid coverage. I am going to do this fairly quickly, okay, because you really should do this transparently, but I want to show you what happens when you do it with opaque and transparent pigment. So I'm only going to do half with cad orange and get scraping tool. Not cad orange, I keep saying cad yellow dark hue. And it's opaque because they've created this paint by using white. Anytime you see the word hue, whoopsie, anytime you see the word hue after the name of a paint, that means it's not the true original paint, it's a substitute. Okay, and then I can take a paper towel and just kind of soften that up so we don't have any ridges. Okay, that's that one. So that's with cad yellow dark hue. I'm going to cap that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, where is it? I'm going to use transparent yellow iron oxide. This is made by M. Graham. Now this is transparent. I'm going to show you, because these backgrounds, all they are is a jump off point for you to start building artwork on top. You may end up completely covering this. Okay, whoopsie. Then I'll do the same thing. I'll take a scraper, preferably one that's clean, and do the same thing, just to show you the transparency. Look at the difference. You can't even see through that. That's the difference. You can see through it, I should say. Very little of the color is actually showing through, as compared to this. Okay? So with the transparent colors, you can layer and layer and layer the paints, but they're very, very subtle. Okay? So that's why you kind of have to know, not so much a little bit about color mixing, but kind of what the paints do. Now, if I turn around and take cad orange, and I'll take cad orange and I'll just put a little spot there. Okay? Cad orange, okay, on the back, PO62, it's opaque, it's light fast. So this is the actual pigment that's used to make the sunshine color. Take cad orange and just scrape that over like that. There we go. So now I have a patch of orange. See the opacity there? Okay, but this is beautiful. Now I can actually turn this around now, and come in, and I can actually remove little bits here and there. So further distress it. And I like using, now I hurt my finger here, my fingernail. Ideally I like using the actual tip of my finger to create the nice streaky lines. But it hurts. It hurts. I've done so many. And here we go. So now I have a really nice page. Now, how does this speak to me? I instantly see a floral painting, flowers, probably like sitting on a table. So I would end up covering this if I was actually doing an actual formal painting. Table, flowers here, or possibly in a vase, but I love that back. So that's just something now that else that you can do to have as a foundation to start building a piece of artwork.